12 years, Harley is breaking away from the giant AMF Corporation. A group including the grandson of one of the founders and executives of the York plant signed the papers this afternoon. They say it will allow them to concentrate on building better machines, and it's a sign of their faith in the last American motorcycle.
There's a ceremonial pen and kind of a certificate-type document they used to celebrate the fact that the 13 members of management were purchasing the company back from AMF ownership. You know, and the whole kind of theme of that era was the eagle soars alone, meaning that, you know, the Harley Eagle, so to speak, was back independent, which is really the way I think our riders wanted it. A lot of our dealers wanted it that way, and it was kind of heralding, you know, the next new era, next new big era for Harley-Davidson. Well, that was not. It was a huge thing, not just because the President of the United States came, but it was to acknowledge Harley ending its tariff relief early, which, to our understanding, no American corporation has ever done that before, since it's unprecedented. And Reagan was, you know, saying, "Good job, Harley, and you're on your way back." And this is a great symbol for America that, you know, American industry can rise from the ashes, so to speak. So that's what made that event so huge. One of the things people are going to see in the Harley-Davidson Museum is a 2007 Softail Deluxe that President George W. Bush sat on while he was visiting the York, Pennsylvania factory. There's a gallery in the museum called the Design Lab. It talks about the more present-day design and manufacturing processes and how much they've come along. So they can see an evolution of how a Harley gas tank becomes a gas tank, and it's actually a more complex process than people might think. Same thing with the air cleaner covers, and if people ever tour the York, Pennsylvania factory, they'll see it's just absolutely phenomenal how these robots kind of handle all of these tanks as delicately as a person would, including the cutting process and the stamping and the pressing, I should say, and then the finishing and painting of those gas tanks. I mean, for instance, the York, Pennsylvania plant has a paint process that's probably still years ahead of what some of our, you know, what some automotive companies are doing. You know, we don't have like all of the kind of ceremonial bikes, but it was a big deal when York, Pennsylvania produced its 2 millionth motorcycle in its history. And you especially think about the fact that York has only been a Harley-Davidson assembly plant since 1973. You know, as far as York goes, when you look back to how far back that facility goes, I mean, it started out, I believe, as a naval ordnance plant during World War II. For instance, we've seen documentary evidence of people who retired from the York plant that started during the World War II years, and they started doing naval ordnance and supplies, and then by the time they retired, they were building motorcycles, and I think that's a testimonial to the resilience of that plant.